You are listening to the Kentucky X-Files with hosts Dennis Mays and Tyler Stewart. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Spotify or YouTube so you never miss an episode. Now, to our show.
Something that would be in the context of the supernatural.
He described it as being a gray, silver-looking, upright bipedal creature, dragging a deer out of that cave going up the hill.
Where he goes, hey, I got a question for you. He goes, do you believe in demons?
And it takes one big step and vanishes. I'm like, oh my God, that was a Bigfoot.
And look at these pictures of this white creature.
Something 7'3" to 8 foot tall.
Right.
That, let's say it like.
And I'm telling you right now, if this was a bear, then this bear was standing on his hind legs, and he was running like a man. No, this wasn't no bear.
Now, when it stood up, that's when I knew it was a dog man.
Welcome back, guys, to the Kentucky X-Files. This is episode 26, and we got a guest coming back. You guys loved him.
Yep.
You know his name.
Fan favorite,
Yeah.
Mr. Josh Gibbs.
I got excited. I couldn't say it. It's Josh. It's Josh.
we talked about Gibbs napping you, but it actually turned out different. Since we usually record outside at my place, we have apparently a hurricane came through the tri-state area today, and we thought we were going to be rained out. And Josh said, "Hey, come on over to my place." So here we are. We're at Casa Gibbs.
Yeah, welcome
today.
to my garage, guys.
Fucking awesome, man. We're awesome. This is awesome. I love it. So I had an interesting thing that I would like to address before we get into tonight's festivities.
Tell us about it.
Well, the other morning, someone out there sent me an anonymous message, and that's you know who you are. I don't know who you are because you didn't put a name behind it. And here's what you said to me, and for everybody else who wants to hear it, you said, "Denny, so you think you're a cage rattler now, do you?" And I went and started typing a reply to it, and as I was typing and finished my reply, when I hit send, it told me that the user had deleted the message. Well, message received. As far as your comment goes, it was odd to me that I got that comment after last week's episode when I said there was a couple big names out there that don't have time for evidence that goes against their narrative. And I'm a little sick of people controlling the narrative, as I know there's a few others out there that feel the same as me, and all you constant listeners, or else I don't think you'd even be here. So, to you who said that message, do I think I'm a cage rattler? You bet your ass I'm a cage rattler. And if it's fake, we're going to figure it out. It might not be us here on the show. It might be one of these listeners. They might figure it out. And they might send it in. And if they send it in, it's going to see the light of day. And if we figure it out that something's fake, it's going to see the light of day. And if that's your cage, it will be rattled. I understand that there's a big paycheck in it, or maybe even a modest paycheck. I don't know. This show has made a grand total of about $8. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. If it ever gets to 100, we're going to buy us a suitcase for our microphones. And that's up front. And everything else is out in the open. Our pictures are on the Facebook page. We're in the public eye. We're not hiding. I'm not hiding our identities. I'm not hiding from you. I'm not going to sit behind a a fake name. I'm not gonna pay people to tell me their made up stories or my made up story. I'm not gonna do that, guys. If you have an encounter, you want it heard, send it to us. It'll get heard. We'll take what we will from it. Whether I believe you or not, it'll be here. It'll be shown. It'll get its day in court. You know, if I disagree with you about something you believe, I'm not going to insult you. I'm just going to disagree. I'm going to say, you know what? I just don't know if I believe that. I'm not going to insult your personal life, your integrity as a human being. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm literally going to just disagree and move on. And as far as those out there that are obviously worried about me rattling their cages, you haven't seen anything yet. We're just getting started. The people who listen to this show are some no-nonsense people. They know something is not right out there, and they want to know what it is, and that's it. They don't have an ulterior motive at all. They just want to understand what they saw. They want to know what the light in the sky was. They want to know what the thing in the woods was. They want to know why the shadows move sometimes. They want to know this stuff. I want to help them because I want to know. That's it. Got no other motives. If rattling cages is something that happens along the way, well, I can live with it. Can you? What about you, constant listeners? Am I rattling too many cages? You tell me. Should I back off? Let me know. And that's all. That's literally it. That's your 5 minutes of fame, you mysterious anonymous person who wrote that. That's all you get from me. I'm not upset. I'm not pissed off. Nothing. You got nothing. Your message received. It didn't do anything. It didn't change anything. The show is going on. Here we sit. We're sitting here at Gibbs' beautiful home, hanging out with him. There's green pastures and cattle. I can see him out there. I can see some dark clouds on the horizon. A little muggy, but it's otherwise a beautiful day. It changed nothing. Nothing. And we're sitting here drinking some wonderful homebrewed mead made by Josh and his nice lady. They make this mead. They do it. I can't call it a hobby. It's too good. I've tried a lot of meads. I've tried some shitty meads. I've tried some decent meads, and this is better than everything I've tried so far. Honestly, Ty. I mean,
yeah, for sure, man.
We've drank a bunch of mead together, and I've drank. Me and him literally killed a bottle of that Viking blood the night my dog died. We drank the whole bottle together, and I don't even think the Viking blood is even as good as what we're drinking tonight.
I think the Viking blood was a lot sweeter. His Gibbs is like there's a lot more bite and kick to it a little bit.
I think it's got more body to it.
Yeah, body. I
like,
guess you would say.
Honestly, like I could totally see either one of those formula recipe. I guess is the right word. Recipes in an ale too.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I'm glad they're not.
If it was carbonated, we'd be in big trouble.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, fellas, I didn't want to make a big downer at the beginning of this, but apparently with this person, the anonymous person, wanted to get their 5 minutes, and I wanted to reply that he didn't want to stick around here apparently. So there you go.
I think we just you literally just turned it on them right then and there. We just went back and just started talking about the delicious meat and stuff. It doesn't change a thing.
The meat is so much more important than that.
That's what I'm saying. Is
it's
that
really good, guys.
No matter what, there's going to be hate, and we knew that when we started this. If it started to pick up, we were going to get some hate somewhere, and we've gotten hate from other places, and I applaud their loyalty to if it's to themselves and their beliefs or to somebody else, but I feel like, but shutting somebody out just because they're looking for the truth, and they want everybody else to know the truth, and they hate the fact strong words, but I feel like I don't like the ones that think that they're telling us information, but they're not.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because there's enough hoaxers out there making this difficult to find proof.
Yeah.
We don't need people out here talking like, I know that we make speculation, but we're not saying that it's evidence.
No.
And that's all, like, I feel like this is a discussion podcast for anything cryptid, supernatural, paranormal, UFOs, whatever.
Sure. You know, last week I brought up the meth fish.
Yeah, the meth fish.
You guys want to hear what the news was for this week?
Oh God. What?
Yeah, I've been keeping up. I've been keeping these little tidbits, right? Because especially if I hear something, I'm like, I gotta bring this up on the show, right? Okay, so this is the newest one, and this mightn't be old to you guys, okay? But I just heard it, and I love it. Okay, so you guys know about the flat earthers?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a big group out there that believe the Earth is flat, and I respectfully disagree. But this new group I found, man, let me just lay this one out for you guys. Okay, look, so all birds went extinct hundreds of years ago. You know this one? All birds are not real. Okay? They're government drones and alien drones watching us. You saw like a bird flying? That's the government watching you. That's not a bird. Okay? You know what I thought as soon as I heard this? But they shit. They shit everywhere.
Right.
People run them over, and you see guts.
Yeah, that's because they're sophisticated.
They're
biomechanical drones.
So they breed these.
Just describing this to you listeners, I'm watching their reactions right now, and I'm getting, like, from Tyler, I'm getting I don't know about this one at all. Like, this is too much. Over at Gibbs, he just looks very depressed for people. He looks like he's very sad for humans.
It's true.
For humankind.
That's so depressing to think that somebody thinks that's real.
Well, there's a lot of different beliefs out there, you know.
I mean, yeah, there is. But
drones.
What about bird nests?
That's where they build the little drones. I made that up. I don't know if that's true.
They're self-replicating.
No, that's where they charge.
That's the charging station.
Yeah, they make they bring solar panels out of their bird nest, and they sit there, and there's like a little power strip on their butts that they sit down on.
Yeah,
thing.
They dock.
Yeah, they dock.
Yeah. The other thing that came up in the news, which I was really interested in, was the bird epidemic. You heard about this one? Birds are dying by the millions.
Yeah, left and right.
Left and right, birds are falling out of the sky at an alarming rate. You know, you're safe to turn on your windshield wipers, guys, driving to work. There may be a bird about to hit your window. Apparently, we've put too many chemicals in the ground, and the insects are laced with them, and the birds are dying because of it. Remember what I said last week? This isn't made up. We did this. This is us. This is what we do. So yeah, that's the news for this week. Awesome stuff, right? Bird drones and bird pandemic.
That's a lot.
Epidemic.
That's
I guess.
A lot of aviary.
There's a lot of birds are heavy. They're getting their asses kicked out there. If you think about it, somebody doesn't think they're real,
right?
And
so are the conspiracy theorists poisoning the fuel supply for the bird drones?
I don't know,
to get them out of the sky.
I don't know. I mean, it's nuts. It's just absolutely nuts. When I first heard this, I was like, you know what? It took me a long time to being honest, guys. It took me a long time to come to peace with the flat Earth thing. You know, I'm like, I don't agree. And when I first heard it, I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
Well, there's no damn way it's flat.
I'm not sitting here. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a flat earther at all.
You're a flat earther, aren't you?
Yeah. Okay.
He didn't. You just said he didn't want to say it.
He didn't want to say it.
I didn't want to say it.
You
but no,
liar.
I want to in a way.
You just took the bottles away from him.
I feel like I'm Squirrely Dan, and you guys are playing catch now. You stop playing catch with me. I want to say like I can understand somewhat why they're saying this.
Yeah.
In a way, because you physically haven't seen it yourself. You haven't seen the things around. I know that you say there's scientific tests that you can tell.
There's all kinds of ways.
That you can tell that the Earth is round.
Sure.
But not everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is because you like physically can't see it.
Yeah.
They're going to dismiss it.
You want me to tell you how we can indefinitely tell that the Earth is not flat?
Lay it out.
Lay it
All
out.
right.
Lay it out. Let's hear it.
Capitalism.
Okay.
If the Earth was flat, there would be a rocket swing on the edge that you could pay $10 to swing out over the edge and come back. Somebody would be capitalizing on the edge of the Earth. I guarantee you.
You know what? I can't. I got nothing. I cannot
feel
dispute
like
that at
what,
all.
Like, is it okay? Can you explain the whole flat Earth thing? The only thing I just heard is the Earth is flat. That's all. I remember they say that there's projections in the sky. That's how we see that. But if you actually reach the end of the Earth, does it just drop off? Is that what they're saying?
It's supposed to be an ice dam. So,
is it?
From what I understand, okay, so this kind of goes into the theology where the Bible says the Earth is flat, is where a lot of that stems from. And supposedly there's an ice dam because space is cold, and the ice dam is what keeps the oceans from running off the edge, right?
Huh.
And supposedly some of the stuff I've read was that the reason that they're not telling anybody is because there's resources that the governments are mining or retrieving from that area that they don't want anybody else getting out there and getting their spoils. But I fall back to my original statement that if there was an edge of an Earth, somebody would put a super swing on it.
Somebody would be making money off of it.
Somebody's going to have a glass walkout. Somebody's going to have a super swing. There's going to be a slide. There's going to be something where you could charge $50 a head to see the edge of the Earth.
Yeah.
Somewhere at some point, I guarantee it.
Okay,
I can't dispute that because I mean, look at everything else.
You were saying that somebody the government's getting resources.
Right. That's the reason why the government is supposedly telling everybody that the Earth is round, is to keep everybody away from these resources that are necessary to keep the governments moving forward. Something valuable is at the edge.
I'm just saying like that. That right there, I can tell. Like if that's one theory on, I can say that that's wrong right there because they would totally capitalize off of that.
Yeah.
More people, more production, there's resources. They will jam every single person at that place to get their resources that they need.
My thought is, why wouldn't you do both?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you use the money coming from the low overhead amusement park hanging off the edge of the Earth to help pay for the mining operation to get the expensive resources that they don't want us to have?
What is this resource?
Right.
Yeah.
See, I don't know what that is. I haven't heard what the resource is. It's always resources is everything I've read.
It's honey
That's
brown.
why. Oh, I would definitely. If it was honey brown beer out there, I could see it. I'm a flat earther then. That's literally where I'd flip.
It'd be nice and cold.
Oh my God.
Because
Could
there's
you
an ice
imagine?
dam. You know.
Could you imagine getting all the way to the end and there's just, I mean, it's a wall of just ice cold honey browns just waiting for you? I'd live
Does
there.
the flat earthers, do they believe that we still float in space? Is there no
I don't
space?
know.
Because
I've never
they
dug
say
that
that
far.
they faked the moon landing.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Is that the flat
I'm
earthers?
pretty
do
sure
that
they
one, too,
said that because they say it's on a projection screen.
It was done in a Hollywood basement, wasn't it? Isn't that what they say? That's the
I've
whole
heard
thing with
that.
the flag and
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard it, but I don't know. There's a
I
lot.
never actually saw the actual video footage of it. Like
Yeah.
I have a long time ago, but it's like only like random clips. But I haven't like actually looked it up.
I can tell you this: there is a video out there somewhere, and I want to say it's Neil Armstrong
Yeah.
knocking a dude out in a mall for saying that the moon landing was fake. It's one of the guys on that mission.
Or Buzz was it
Might have
Buzz
been-
Aldrin?
Buzz Aldrin.
Might have been Buzz Aldrin.
And the other guy that nobody remembers.
Yeah, it was either
It's
Neil
terrible.
It was either Neil or Buzz. One of them laid a dude out in a mall for saying that the moon landing was fake.
That's like, I mean, that's
Right.
passion right there. Like, dude, I was there. you shut your mouth.
Right.
You
Well,
know what I
and
mean?
Neil
Like,
and Neil's almost a local.
yeah.
I mean, he didn't live far from here. A friend of mine was his heating and air guy.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he
That's
was.
cool. That is cool.
When he was alive, it was just right over here in Indian Hill.
We need to buzz him a little bit and be like, hey, let's talk about this flat Earth stuff.
I'm ashamed of that fucking pun.
I did not mean for it to be a pun. I'm blaming the Mead. I'm just blaming Mead.
You want another round?
Yeah.
All right, I figured he did.
Yeah, I do.
Which one?
I don't care. They're both awesome.
We did that one last time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Guys, the Mead is amazing, and I apologize for what the Mead makes me say during the duration of this show. Oh no. It's spilled. I got it. Oh. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wow.
Like I said, I just need
Every
empty
time.
bottles.
Every time's wonderful. Josh is spoiling us, guys.
Oh, spoiling.
He brought us out here to do a podcast, and he's giving us mead, fed us.
Oh, yeah.
Very,
Let you hang out in my studio for a little bit.
yeah, let him. Yeah, dude,
Showed his
amazing.
car.
Let us hear some music. He's been working on. It's really, really awesome. It's heavy stuff. Love it.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. So you guys want to hear what I've been digging into? I got a little bit of stuff saved, so
Oh.
I can. If you guys are interested, okay.
No.
I'm a big fan of the big guy.
Right.
So I started looking. I went back in time a little bit. Check this out. I know once you hear this, you'll probably be like, oh yeah, the Ural Mountains. Heard of this one? This is back in 1959. You know this one? 9 hikers. Well, or would they be hikers? I wonder, or would they be what the hell were they?
They were
Like,
expeditionists.
Yeah, expeditionists.
Yeah.
I wanted to say they were students.
Are
or
you about
whatever.
to tell us the story of the Datlov Pass?
There it is. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. I love this story.
So I won't do the whole thing because I know a lot of people have heard it, but these 9 people go up into the Ural Mountains, right? And here's a few little tidbits I've pulled from this that I found very interesting. One was one of the ladies in the group, and honestly, they were all Russian, so I'm not even going to attempt their names because, out of respect, I don't want to butcher their names. But anybody out there, you can look this up and look into it yourselves. This is a crazy story, but one of the journals actually said, because she was keeping a journal of their entire expedition, right? She'd wanted to go on this thing for forever. She was looking forward to this. They found all of them dead. They search parties. They never checked in, whatever. They found them all dead. One of the journals from one of the ladies in the group said they found that the snowman was real.
Oh,
Okay.
I did not know that.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I
They
think they actually made a movie about this.
Yeah, it was kind of hokey, but yeah, they did. Make
Yeah,
it
it's like a
about it.
B movie, but but it's in the perspective. I think they took liberties.
It was about time travel.
Well, I think they said that it was the rescue party. They were saying that, like, the description of the video. I haven't watched it, but
no.
they were because you said students, and that's what they said. Like these,
Yeah, because they weren't very. I know they. There was one of them that was like pretty experienced, but a bunch of them apparently weren't as experienced.
Well, I think that's
like
what they were doing. They were going to study for
Yeah.
school, and they probably had a guide. Things happen, and the way that this movie is depicted is that somebody comes looking for them,
Yeah,
and things happen.
yeah.
Saying that
There's
snowman-
some interesting information that's come to light since from the Soviet government, releasing pictures and things they found on their film from their cameras. One of them actually shows a black man standing in big
Like,
thing standing in the woods staring at him. They snapped a picture of it. The real interesting thing was that the one thing that I think you're gonna love, not love. It's not a great story, guys. It's a terrible one. But for us here investigating this and looking into this, it was love at first sight because I'm like, here, I got something just substantial. And let's face it, the Soviet Union is not known for, making light of things. You know what I mean? They're pretty serious guys. So what I found interesting was that the tent, had that one of the main tents. They had a big tent. They were all in it apparently. I guess body heat and all that, and it was really cold up there. They had little slits in the tent walls. Okay, this is really cold, right? We're talking you throw water out, turns into ice type cold, right? They had cuts in it, and they said that when they reconstructed the tent, they got in the tent that they reconstructed from the photographs of the scene, and they started realizing that the slits were little eye. You could put your finger on them, and you could look out, right? And so they said, okay, they had those all the way around. So they were looking out at something. Something was out there, and they were trying to keep a watch out. There was tears on one end of the tent that were not consistent with the tools they were using, the little knives and stuff they were using to cut. They had an escape cut on one side where they all poured out of it. All right. They all left the tent at the same time and didn't even have their shoes on. Right. So whatever happened so fast, they didn't even take the time to get bundled up. They ran the hell out of this tent, right? Well, scrambling.
And there's a phenomenon that happens with bodies. That when you're in the super cold temperatures like that,
yeah,
your brain will tell yourself that you're burning up, and you'll actually strip.
Gotcha. Okay.
So some of that might have been they were trapped in this tent in the cold with no way to heat themselves up.
Yeah.
And were actually tearing their own clothes off, thinking they were burning up.
Okay.
So they didn't care that they weren't wearing shoes. They didn't care that they weren't wearing socks or boots or anything.
Yeah. I've heard another thing too is that especially at an adrenaline type of situation, especially if it was like you said, an escape cut, they were freaked out about something. So
something that freaked them out.
A lot of people said like they say that in like car crashes, like that's why they say a lot like you automatically get a neck brace because they say that you might have a neck injury.
You just won't know it.
You just won't know because there's a lot of adrenaline pumping through you and you don't notice it. So
they just released a bunch of classified information about this incident over in Russia. Right?
Really?
So there's pictures now from the cameras. There's several different shots of whatever this thing was. Mm-hmm. There's those, and then there's some other interesting things, which is the details of the bodies have finally come to light, which was big. 4 of them, I might be wrong. If I am, I'm sorry. 4 of them, they said it was hypothermia. They straight up they froze to death, you know. But the other ones had traumas. They had traumas not consistent with falling. They from what I understand, they had traumas consistent with actual attacks. Something hit them. Something hurt them. One guy was missing an eye.
You got to be hit hard.
Yeah.
For an eye to come out.
One person had their tongue pulled out. Okay. Okay. There's a handful of scientific, and I say that with air quotes. Okay. There's a handful of scientific theories about this, and I'm going to tell you which one I'm leaning towards, but here we go. So one was an avalanche. Okay, an avalanche caused it. Okay, now I might throw in with an avalanche if the tent wasn't still sitting intact. It was still standing. It was ripped up, but it was standing, right?
Did they say how far away they were from their tent?
From what I understand, they were like a football field away from their tent.
So if that was
and some of them weren't even that. Some of them didn't make it that far.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of people would say that if you're, especially how cold you were saying.
Yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't make it that far because they say because the cold air coming in will crystallize in your lungs, and then they'll start to pull up with blood, and then once you start it will start to pop, and then you'll basically drown in your own blood at those temperatures.
I've heard of that. Yeah. The other theory, the one thing about the avalanche that didn't really work for me was they only found the bodies maybe a foot down, maybe 2, which isn't to me quite consistent with being crushed by snow.
Right.
I mean, I've been in some pretty deep snow, and I didn't feel like I couldn't dig my way out. You know what I mean?
A foot down is not enough to hold a 20-something-year-old.
Yeah. And then the other thing was how scattered they were. You know, they ran in 2 different groups, right? And then one group apparently had gotten a lot farther, and they might have lasted a little bit longer, but they had the most violent death. and they were found in a creek bed with all those injuries. But none of the injuries were consistent with, say, falling off of something or like hitting a tree or something. You know what I mean? It didn't work. It didn't line up. I mean, if you run up to a tree and hit it, it might mess you up. But are you going to lose an eyeball? Are you going to have the whole side of your head caved in? It's you know what I mean. There's kind of some weirdness there. Another theory that I heard was it was kind of a phenomena where groups kind of go into a hysteria together. Like a mass hysteria. They said that they all freaked out and they just, started imagining things. Maybe they were hallucinating. Maybe they were. Maybe they were getting hypothermic and they were seeing things and they were starting to panic. I don't know. One of the big theories, though, the one that I've thrown in with a little bit, one of the major theories put forth was infrasound. Infrasound caused them to panic, caused them to flee, but it still doesn't. Infrasound alone couldn't cause the damage done to some of them. The tongue being removed doesn't line up.
The only thing I kept thinking about the tongue being removed, like depending on what other animals could have like picked at it, but why would it only touch the tongue?
There should have been lots of stuff.
Yeah, you would see scratch marks or any type.
Eyes.
Yeah, I was gonna say an animal that comes after the tongue would have to also go after the eyes.
But the eye was missing from the guy whose head was caved in by a blunt force trauma. The eye was on that guy, so his other eye was there. That's what I wasn't sure about.
Right.
And
this was up in Russia.
Up in Russia, in the Ural Mountains, and what's funny is that the locals there, they only have one thing to say about it: the Yeti. They said there's a reason why you don't go mess with the Yeti. You don't go up there by it. You don't mess with it. And this is also consistent with the difference between our stories here in America of the Sasquatch versus their stories of the Yeti. The Yeti is supposed to be a little smaller, a lot more aggressive.
I feel like because it's isolated a lot more than these. I feel like over time, like the Sasquatch stories that are in the North America and stuff, they are considered, I guess you would say, docile, if you will. I'm not saying like they're domesticated or anything of that nature.
Yeah.
But they're trying to coexist with us.
What's the speculation on the Yeti's diet? Are they omnivorous?
I have no idea. I mean, imagining the place, I mean, it's...
You would think it would be a...
Is it close to like an ocean or anything?
From what I understand, it's mountains. It's just vast mountains. I mean, I'm sure we could probably bring a map up and look at it, but I'm pretty sure it's just mountain ranges. I mean, it's cold, it's mountain, it's snow.
Well, rivers and stuff too,
Well,
fish.
Yeah, but I mean, for something to, to do that, it doesn't make sense to me. Why?
But their anatomy would have to be some way superior to us, because like I said, like you can't run miles in that weather without something severely, like, because the air is too thin.
Yeah.
And then like the coldness will actually freeze, like crystallize in your lungs, forming pools of blood, and then they'll pop, and then you'll choke on your own blood. So
it's wild to me, because when I was looking into the story and I was reading and I was trying to get as much info on it as possible, and the Yeti kept coming up, many different areas talking about it. The Yeti's brought up over and over again, and I thought, well, it's kind of strange. I'm not as familiar with the Yeti stories as I am, with the North American Sasquatch or Sabe, whatever you want to call it. But it's really interesting to me that here's another country that has their own upright, unknown hominid.
So the Ural Mountains is on the west end of Russia.
Okay.
It's kind of close to Belarus.
Okay.
Almost kind of like halfway between the center of Russia and Belarus.
Yeah.
So whatever water's there is...
It's fresh.
Lakes, things like that, yeah.
and plus, if there's any like rivers that connect to the ocean that's up above it, like seals.
Yeah.
Shit, like that's
some calories. I mean, whatever this is, it would have to put away some calories, because I mean,
But its size too, like wouldn't.
it's not as big.
It's not as big,
That's
so
a-
that's
that's a
probably
consistency.
that's probably like because remember how you were telling me about the T-Rex? The T-Rex actually started to evolve downward because of its prey, and then it actually you said evolved later date.
Yeah, that
With-
and well, the prey animals, the oxygen content started to lessen over millions of years, so the prey started getting smaller.
So take a look at that. At the end of the Dyatlov Pass, there's at least 4 rivers within 30 miles.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
And that kind of falls back into everything you've talked about with waterways.
I wonder. I mean, I wonder why. I mean, well, yeah. I mean, if they are related, then maybe some stuff has kind of stuck throughout the throughout the species, or whatever. It's interesting though, but out of all the reports of Yeti, it's always smaller, faster, and more aggressive. Like infinitely more aggressive. Nobody has the. Oh, I saw them. I spoke with them. They're peaceful. No one has a Yeti story like that.
Right.
The Asians, the Russians, all these people, their Yeti stories are usually horrible. It's like, dude, don't go up there. That
Don't
thing
do
is literally
What was
going to
that?
eat you.
What was that picture you actually? I don't know if it was a picture or a video you showed me. It was actually, was it in China? Like upwards of China, like going towards like Russia and stuff. They saw something up on the mountain, walking.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah,
climbing up the like.
They
it was
saw him walking up the
yeah,
mountain.
walking up the mountain. And this
Yeah, that's
mountain
a pretty
is
interesting picture.
steep as fuck. Like it's,
Yeah, they were saying that there was no way for people
without
to be able to walk this with like you're saying, without climbing gear.
yeah.
Right.
And these things were literally walking up it, going right up and over it, and they were taking pictures of them. Like, what the hell is going on here? How can they do that?
That's crazy.
That's nuts, man.
To throw into some like speculation and like some theories on this,
Yeah.
just like us, we have different races, right?
I mean, for the most part, we have our differences. We're fundamentally the same,
Yeah.
with all other humans on Earth, but there are differences, in our heritages and stuff. So yeah, there's
I really feel like that. This is
yeah.
This is one.
It's-
This is a part of it.
It's a super delicate thing to say. It really is. And especially in today's culture, it's super
Sure.
delicate to say.
I think anybody listening knows that we're.
But it feels so hard to say it out loud. But I mean, there are physical differences
yeah.
in all of the races.
Yeah, I mean, no matter where you come from on the Earth, we've adapted as humans to where we lived and where we came from. So,
Yeah.
I was reading a study today that they were talking about the chimpanzee, and that the chimpanzee actually has super light skin, and they said that it has super light skin and it has dark fur to protect it. And considering that the chimpanzee has been around for a few million years longer than us, they were speculating as to why we didn't evolve like that. Why did we split off so differently? No matter where, let's say Asians, Africans, Caucasians, what's the Aborigines, the Native Americans, all these different peoples, we all branched off differently, and not one of us grew fur like that to protect us, but the chimpanzee did. And then considering that chimpanzee is in more of a tropical-ish kind of climate, I'd say a little bit warmer climate than us, it's kind of strange that their hair works that way. So yeah, I'm all for it. I think without turning it into any kind of whatever on human beings, I'm saying
Yeah. Like
celebrate the differences. But in this case, the difference between the Yeti and the Sasquatch is that this thing is a smaller version, way more pissed off apparently.
Well, I mean, and you get that with, multitudes
Yeah.
of living creatures. Behind us are Black Angus bulls.
Yeah.
Those are notorious assholes.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
And then you've got your Guernsey dairy cows.
Yeah.
They very different appearances,
Right.
very different temperaments.
The first thing that I thought of was when I was thinking about the Yeti and the Sasquatch was that going back to our history here in the United States of the mammoth versus the mastodon. Mammoth was a massive, stoic beast, and beautiful. I actually just got to see a mammoth skeleton not even a few days ago, and the mastodon is notorious for apparently have been a smaller, much more pissed off version. Every time they find bones of it, it's always got wounds from other mastodons. So, like, it's a smaller, more pissed off version. So here we have a smaller, more pissed off version of the Sasquatch.
Look at dogs.
Yeah, small dog syndrome.
Yeah,
Maybe that's what it is.
Small dog syndrome. You get a Newfoundland that doesn't want to get off the porch, just gives you a good boof when he sees you.
Right.
Versus the toy poodle or Chihuahua that's yip, 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 the meanest dog I ever seen in my life was a miniature Pomeranian.
Oh God,
you had to handle him with welding gloves.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
just tear you up.
There was a show I liked watching or listening to in the mornings. Dial or Deal. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
You're on Dial and Deal. I wish it was still around. I don't think it is.
I don't know.
But this guy calls up one day and he literally goes, he's like, yeah, I got this old dog. He's like a little bitty dog. He's like, he's pretty mean. I mean, he doesn't like people. And he don't like kids. I mean, you could sleep with him, but just keep one eye open. You know what I mean? And look, dude's completely serious about selling this dog, and the host is dying laughing, and I was losing it listening to this. And after the guy got off the phone, the host is like, well, I mean, there you have it, guys. I mean, I bet he's going to get nothing but calls about this dog after that one. He really sold it.
Right.
Like, this dog is literally the spawn of Satan. So, he's ready. He's got a crate, Oh, my God. But, yeah, that's what I was digging into this week. I thought it was pretty interesting stuff. For anybody out there listening, definitely check that out, the Ural Mountains incident. And I think that, to me, it, you know what I mean? It's 1959. They still haven't figured it out. Come on. We know something's going on out there. We know something is happening. They can't figure it out.
Right.
Yeah. That's like the UFO thing. We don't know. We've never heard of that. You're crazy. You're seeing things. Oh yeah, we got some papers. We'll disclose for you. Here you go. Come on, guys. When you disclose something you denied for 50, 60 years, it kind of makes me trust you even less than I already didn't.
I was thinking about that today. I was, when we were talking about doing this, I was like, the fact that I grew up in the era of, boogeyman's not real. It was whatever your boogeyman is. He's not real.
Right.
Aliens, werewolves.
Yeah.
Bigfoot. You name it. It was. Don't worry, he's
Just
not.
don't say dog man because we'll get more hate mail.
Well, and you know my theory on the whole dog man stuff.
Yeah.
I sent you the skull pictures, and I'm like,
right.
I think if there is anything remotely close to it, it's just a different species.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I saw one night I was watching hunting videos from Africa, and they were, what was it called, the African werewolf? I don't even remember what the hell the species was. It might be something already out there that whatever. But they killed one of these things and were actually showing it, and I'm like, dude, that's out there in the dark. You have to hunt it at night. No.
Yeah.
I'm not in.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's a dog that it's a wild dog, and the legs are like 4 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it's almost got a mohawk.
Yeah.
Yeah. That thing's a wild looking critter, isn't it?
Yeah, if that came up out of nowhere at me, I don't know if I could handle that. I don't know if that would work for me.
Yeah.
It's just, nah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. A little buzzy. There we go. Yeah, I don't know.
Metal table.
There's some crazy stuff out there. There's one channel I stumbled upon that has a guy who keeps calling in, and he's got a southern accent thicker than molasses, right? And he says he's a government agent that hunts dogmen. And I'm having a little trouble with it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just something about the whole thing that just doesn't sit right with me. So I didn't invest too hard into it. But I listened to it and I'm like, I hate to say it, but I'm like, the Dogman community it really needs to gather up some, it needs to gather up some credibility and go ahead and shed off some,
They need their Patterson film.
they really do.
They need a Patty. That's the only thing that's going to give them credibility.
It doesn't help either that the big, the big names consistently say they have video that would knock your socks off, but they can't show it.
Right.
And I can't help it. I'm if you tell me that, I mean, you can't blame me for being a skeptic on the subject. Now, I'm fascinated by the Dogman stories. There is consistencies that I have found. There's locational consistencies that I've found. There's behavioral. There's even description. There's all kinds of stuff that I've found in the patterns that, they line up. There's some interesting stuff, but the one pattern that I really need that's just not there for me is I need some video. I need a clear picture. In the stories, they're out in the open and they're crystal clear with a good look, but the pictures are not showing me that. They're not consistent with what I'm being told. So I need some evidence that lines up with that. Once I got that, then I'm willing to go farther with the Dogman.
Well, and you and I sat down on the phone for almost an hour going over that video from like 2006 or 8.
Kangaroo stuff?
The kangaroo stuff, yeah.
I wanted to redact that the last episode where we talked about the kangaroo theory. That was me and Gibbs we were on the phone and we were on the computer. We were sending stuff back and forth.
Yeah, we were Facebook video chatting.
Yeah, we were Facebook video chatting and we were sharing pictures and stuff back and forth and talking about the kangaroo theory. So, sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I wanted to give you crap as soon as I heard it. I was like, oh, wait a minute now.
Wait a minute. I was helping him.
That was me.
That was Gibbs. Yeah. I'm willing to admit that. Because,
but, yeah, that video, man, as soon as you put the red filter,
yeah.
I mean, it's...
Yeah, he was talking about that on the way over, too.
Well, and then I was like, everything that is described about the Dogman, I was like, well, check out this video of this kangaroo knocking on the glass, trying to come in the back door.
Yeah.
And that's when you and I discovered that there are
there's videos of it.
Of roos running around the U.S.
Yeah, I was sending him stuff. I was literally forwarding this stuff straight over to him. Like, look at this, dude. It's tapping on the window. How many times have we heard that?
That thing's like
sitting there tapping on the window, staring at it.
Right.
And the smile, the smirk.
And the red eye shine.
The red eye shine.
It's
there's too much there.
Right. I think you were even the one that said it. What's crazier, a Dogman or a kangaroo that got let loose?
Well, it's because somebody I was saying it on the last episode. Somebody literally calls me out and goes, you're crazy, you're in hell or whatever, blah blah blah. Kangaroos loose in the United States, that's insane. And I'm literally sitting there reading this like,
but a 6 foot tall
werewolf is not insane. Come on, man.
Right.
It's just deductions here. That's all. We're just knocking stuff down.
Right.
There could be a Dogman.
If when you put the red filter on that video, if we would have seen anything but a kangaroo, or even it was like a toss up between a kangaroo and an ostrich at the beginning part.
When I first seen the leg,
Yeah, it was like it had that leg like an ostrich at first. Like,
Yeah.
it was like bald and then fluffy, and then when you changed the filter, it was like, oh, okay, I see it. I see the tail.
You can see the leg movement.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that all Dogman sightings are kangaroos. I'm just saying we could eliminate a bunch of them.
Yeah.
We could literally right now we could cut a big old piece of the pie and just scoop it right off the table.
And I don't understand for the life of me why people don't want to do that. Let's scrape away the BS. Mm-hmm. Let's find the truth. Like, get rid of the hoaxes. We don't take everything for granted. Don't take everything as absolute truth. Wipe away the bullshit. Let's get to the bottom.
Well, I mean, I think too I'm being dead honest when I say this. If I'm sitting there, and I'm watching TV and I look out my window and a damn kangaroo is sitting there scratching on the window and I'm in Kentucky, I'm not gonna think kangaroo.
Right.
I'm gonna say there's a goddamn monster out there, and I need to run.
It's the old saying: if you hear hooves, do you think horses or zebras?
Right.
You know, it's like, why would there be a kangaroo? And I'm telling you right now, I've had an experience like that.
Really?
When I was growing up on the farm up at the top of the hill here, it wasn't a roo. It wasn't a dog man. You know how you're sitting there and all of a sudden you get that feeling like you're being watched?
Oh, yeah.
That's an eerie feeling.
Yeah.
Especially when you find out you're right.
Yeah.
So I was sitting on the couch watching TV in my living room, home alone, probably 16.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I kept having that feeling. Like, man, am I freaking myself out? What the heck's going on?
Right.
So I kind of start looking around the house, and I'm like, I don't see anything. So I turn around, and there was a large set of windows right behind my couch. And I pull the curtain back, and there was a cow standing outside, staring in the window at me.
Oh, my God.
Let me tell you something.
It was the cow man. That's what it was.
At 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
when you're home alone and you're 16, and you open the curtain and there's just two big eyes,
Yeah.
it's not a cow. It's not a cow.
Yeah. It's a monster.
I leapt from one end of the living room to the other,
Yeah.
squealed like a little girl,
Yeah.
didn't know what to do with myself. My dog started going nuts because I made that noise. Finally ran over and flipped the porch light on and looked out, and there was like half a herd of cattle in my front yard that got loose from the neighbors down the road.
Gotcha.
But for some reason, these cows decided to just walk up and like look in the window and watch the TV with me.
Yeah. Maybe you were watching something they liked.
I can't remember. It was probably Benny Hill or something ridiculous like that, you know. But yeah, that's what they did. They were staring in the window and terrified me. But for that first few minutes,
Yeah.
that wasn't a cow outside. That was a monster, you know.
You know, I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but you had an experience when you were a kid.
Yeah, we touched base on it like a while, a couple episodes back.
Tell Gibbs about that one. Listen to this one.
Oh, like before I jump into that, I was just like saying but you got to think too, like you were saying, you were in like a situation where because you're still at your house,
Right, I was safe.
like you were safe, so you went to investigate and turned on the lights and you found out.
Right.
But put yourself in the situation outside, camping, somewhere you
Yeah.
don't know.
Right.
So you're not going to get a full spectrum of what this
No.
is. This just scared the shit out of you. I'm leaving.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever it is going to see assholes and elbows. It's
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
It's over after that.
yeah.
Well, okay, so my story,
Last meal.
I live in a subdivision right up the road, and there's trails in these subdivisions that, as I was a kid, I always just rode my bike. Me and my friends, there's a little creek. We had a little rope swing that we used back there, and one day I just went out there, rode my bike through the trails by myself. I don't think I had my bike that day. I don't think I did. I think I was just walking. And I was just walking down through the trails, and I came up through there's like a curve, and then it goes up to a hump. And I to this day, I swear up and down, it was a black bear. I cannot get the image of a black bear, the way it was sitting, but it didn't look massive. But I want to say it was at least, probably the size of this table, maybe the size of the table.
That's at least 6 foot long.
Yeah, it wasn't I wouldn't say it was but it was pretty big, but it looked like it was occupied with something else, it was looking for something else. So it never really acknowledged that I was there. So I kind of freaked out a little bit, but I was more in shock, so I kind of backed up, and then I got home, and I was trying to tell my parents this, and they were like, "There's no black bears." Everybody says there's no black bears around here, so I don't give a shit. I thought it was a black bear. Denny has another opinion on it.
He was telling me this. We were driving around. We were delivering, right? And he's telling me the story, and I'm just sitting there I'm driving, so I'm literally doing one of these, and he tells me a story, and he's like, I'm pretty sure it was just a black bear or something, you know. I'm like, dude, I mean, there has been a couple black bears, but they're south or west. There hasn't been one up here in a couple 100 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially one that only one person saw and wasn't on the news.
Right.
I mean, you think about it. If a black bear is there, it's only a matter of time before he wanders his ass into the neighborhood and starts going through garbage cans.
Right. Yeah.
Well, to throw some context here, the location that I saw it at,
Yeah.
just up the hill, not even like a foot, probably less than a football field away,
Yeah.
were a bunch of houses. So
Right. So it was right there.
it was really close to other houses.
I mean, looking at this at other stories, you know, of bears wandering through towns and wandering through whatever, they're noticed.
Right.
They're noticed. People see them.
Well, they're not scared.
Yeah. Well, I'll be scared. I'm the biggest thing out here.
Yeah, it's the whole bears don't look up.
But that was right there, you know, in this, you know, not even 10 minutes from here, right? And then a couple of other sightings came from that same area years later, you know. It's kind of weird. Their sightings weren't a black bear. They thought they saw something else. One guy saw something running upright, and another guy. The bad part about that witness, though, and I've read that one a couple times, is he was younger at the time, and they were smoking weed together. And I hate to say it, but you're in a world where you're telling a story like this, you add some kind of alcohol or any kind of drug to the story. Unfortunately, it's hard to keep it credible.
Yeah,
I've heard a couple stories.
It loses credibility, but Hollywood really does a bad job of promoting the fact that alcohol and weed makes you hallucinate.
Yeah.
Because that's just not true.
I feel like, yeah, you get a buzz, like, everybody knows, like, you just get a little buzz, like, it's not like you're, like, on, like, acid or, like, mushrooms or something like that, and I've never personally been on those things, so I don't know, like, if actually you see something physically in some ways. I remember I've heard people that they see different colors and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like you manifest something in your in front of you.
I drank like 7 Monsters one time, and I did see colors running down the walls. So I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but nothing against Monster. I still love Monster. I'm just, you know, it is what it is.
You probably shouldn't do that again.
Probably. I haven't since.
Those are the monster stop signs. Stop doing what you're doing.
You're gonna die. Stop. Yeah. It was just an excess.
You're about to leave the Matrix.
Yeah. One scary. I don't have the guy's permission to tell his name. I'll tell you guys when we're not on air who it is. You both know him. Had told me a story one night that scared the holy shit out of him, and it's probably not what you expect. It definitely wasn't what I expected, and I've known this for a long time, and I kept wondering if I should bring it up or maybe I shouldn't. I'll bring it up. I won't give his name up. That way he doesn't have to worry about anything, you know, whatever. But I want to say that if he would tell it himself, honestly. But
yeah.
Anyway, so it was a group of friends, mutual friend. Me and you knew him. We played music with him together. They were having a party. You know, they were enjoying life one night. You know, blah blah blah. Earlier in the day, they were driving up and down in like dune buggies and 4-wheelers and stuff, and having a good old time. And he had left something down in this garage where the dune buggy was, and everybody else was up, hanging out, drinking, you know, just having a good time. He walked down there to get it. The hood was up on the buggy or whatever it was. It was like I guess it was like like an old Volkswagen buggy. You know, people used to gut them and turn them into, you know, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He went to close the trunk or whatever, you know, on it, and as most people, the Volkswagen engine's in the back, so the front is the trunk. He went to close it, and when he closed it, there was something about yay tall standing there, and it hissed at him. It was like, and it took off running.
What the fuck?
It was upright, and it took off running on 2 legs. And it scared him so bad that even when he told me about it, I could visibly see that he was paranoid even just telling me about it.
Okay, so the motion I just made, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. It was wild.
Holy crap.
And honestly, because me and him had a couple talks one night about this kind of stuff and like what we believe, what we don't believe. And he literally told me this one night, and I was sitting there like, I kept like trying to rationalize. I'm like, maybe it was like a big possum. And he's like, it wasn't a possum, dude. And I'm like, okay, maybe it was a raccoon. I'm trying, like,
Right.
It was a dog. It was a dog, you know?
Like, did he give any kind of, like, more details? Like, did he say color?
From what I understand, I don't remember, but...
Because I'm, like, really concerned about this because the goblins...
I've heard that too.
No. Remember the big thing that's like in Kentucky? Remember Hopkins?
Yeah.
Hopkins?
Hopkinsville.
Yeah, Hopkinsville.
Yeah, the shootout.
Yeah, the
Oh,
shootout
yeah.
back in. It was around the same time in the 50s.
Was it 50s or?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, it was post-war. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the 50s.
Yeah.
And
Creepy as hell.
they said that they saw these tiny, like linky arm green.
Yeah,
Goblin-looking things.
He said it was little, and when he went to close that, there it was. It was like the hood was blocking it. So when he closed it, he looked. He said his eyes went wide as saucers. This thing looked up at him, like hissed at him, and it took off running out of the garage.
So I'm going to add context to this story. I made some miming and figured out who he's talking about.
Yeah.
I played music with that guy for a year.
Yeah, at least.
At least a year.
At the very least.
And he would make jokes, but other than that, he was fairly serious about
Pretty
everything.
no nonsense, yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
no pulls, no punches. What he says is what he thinks.
Yeah.
That's for him to tell a story like
honestly,
that.
always a straight shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that actually, like, this is the first time I'm hearing this because I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah.
But remember the story? Like, there was another story that happened to the same person that happened on your farm. That one was creepy too.
Okay, I have context to add to that too.
Oh, there something
there's
more?
Been new developments. Okay, okay. So, oh god, this is a can of worms. Okay, everybody. So, the farm that I grew up on has a little bit of a history with some strange things that have happened. There's a good chunk that I'm not going to go into because they pertain to close family members that would tear me a new one if I said anything. The ones I will tell would be this. Okay, it started years ago. Something was spotted on the farm by my grandmother. All right, she's passed since, and she had called it a kachina. As you know, my grandmother was Native American. She was a Kiowa Apache, and she was very, very. She was devoted to her, her heritage and her beliefs. She would not falter about it. I know I've brought her up before. I brought her up on the episode where I told the story about my experience. Now, what Tyler just said was something had happened on the farm. This same person who saw this little thing was up there. He got permission to try hunting up there. No one has ever had a successful hunt on this farm. And there always something happens. I don't know why. We've never known why exactly. We just know that it never goes well. He went up there and he took a little handsaw and he cut down a few cedars and he crisscrossed them into a little blind. And I can't remember if he was actually trying for a deer or a turkey. I don't remember. But he was sitting there. He said he was feeling good, feeling relaxed. He felt very, very optimistic. He actually had done some calls and actually had heard some turkeys. Actually, it was turkeys. He did the calls. He had I remember he had a crow call. Apparently, turkeys hate crows. I don't know why, but somebody out there will know. But he would do this little like meep 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 thing, and he had this other one that when he went like this.
The box.
Yeah, it would squeak like a crow, and you'd wait a little bit, and then you'd hear a gobbler way out there, right? So anyway, he said he'd heard a little bit of action. He didn't see anything yet, but he was feeling good about it. He heard a voice tell him to stop what he was doing and get out. And he literally stopped, looked around, and thought that it was one of my family members. I'm being very vague about this. I'm not going to go into details about who he thought it was. He thought it was one of my family members telling him to stop and get out. He literally called out their name, and he asked them, like, hey, where you at? I can't see you. And then he got this overwhelming feeling of, it was the same. It was the same. It was the dread. It was the same old that you hear all the time. The feeling of dread. He stopped everything he was doing. He got up and left. When he told me about it, I chalked it up as it's just another weird story from this farm. This farm's full of them, full of these stories. And I grew up here, so it's no surprise that here I sit talking about this stuff. If I told you guys some of this stuff, I'm almost dead sure that even the people listening would be like, I'm out. I'm not in on this. This is too much. There's some crazy things that have happened. Maybe in the future, if I ever get permission, I will tell them. But until then, it's going to have to be vague. The context I'll add to that is that it happened again to someone else.
Same.
This is a distant family member from. It's like a nephew or something. I don't know them. I really don't know them. Like, they're two different families that just didn't really know each other. They had started coming around a few years back. This is recent, and one of them apparently asked if he could put his trail cams up. He put his trail cams up. The trail cams were all destroyed, and he thought that someone was messing with him. There was a few accusations thrown around. The people who live around there, they're not going to walk all the way up there. It's just not happening. They're not going to do it. Nobody's going to mess with people's stuff over there. It's just not their way. Mm-hmm. And then when he was up there actually attempting to hunt, something ran him out. He didn't come out and say what happened. He just said the place was no good, and I just had to leave. So he was in the middle of a hunt. Something stopped him. He's up and he's gone. So I don't know. It's like, I think it's like 39, 40 acres over there. I can't remember. It's a decent little chunk of land. It's got a lot of history to it. There's secrets in the place. There's all kinds of buildings that are buried, like literally buried. And like I said, there's the occasional weird thing has shown itself, and the occasional weird thing has occurred. That's where my experience happened. That's literally the place where I heard the scream. When I heard the scream and remembered it when I was told about the first incident, that, stop what you're doing, get up, get out, that's the first thing I thought of. I thought, holy shit, is it still there? Does it live there? What the hell? Why would it be there? Hey guys, I'm actually just editing this episode and realized that this is almost 3 hours long, so we're going to be breaking this one up into 2 parts. Sorry about that, but stay tuned next Monday for the rest of this awesome conversation with Josh Gibbs. See you next time.